So in this video we'll learn about the concept of method overloading and overriding in Java. Okay, so what exactly is method overloading and overriding, that we'll see. First we'll get to write the program. Okay, so like always, I'll just begin my program with a class name. Okay, so in this program specifically we will be needing two classes. Okay, for now I'll be naming this class as my base class. Okay, and I'll define a few methods over here. Okay, and I'll call it public void, you can say test. Okay, so int a, int b. Okay, and here again what I will do is write the same function name. Okay, I'll call it test, but here what I will do is I will give it 3 parameters instead of 2 parameters. Okay, so this type of a thing is called as overloading. Okay, so this is called method overloading. Okay, so this is a construct in which the same name of a function and with different parameters is created below it, then it is called as a method overloading. So this process is kind of done completely in the compile time. Okay, so this is a compile time polymorphism, you could say. So this is called method overloading. So what it does and how it will help, we'll see. So after this thing, what I will do is I'll simply take another variable in C, for example, a plus b plus c. Sorry, here it will be c. Let me just put a simple system.out.print line, and I'll just put it c over here, and we'll copy this thing. And here what I will need to do is I need to rename this variable and maybe show the addition. Okay, let me just save this thing, Java approach, and we'll call it testprog.java. Okay, so testprog.java, and what I will do is I will create a class called testprog. Okay, what I will do is I will say extends base class. Okay, so what it will do is, test program, so it will extend, that is inherit the previous class. Okay, so we have learned what inheritance is. So what it will do is here these methods, all these methods will be inherited, that is a reference to these methods will be available from testprog. Okay, so we can call these methods from testprog. So what happens is, previously we have seen what was overloading, so there's another thing called overriding. Okay, so overriding is this way. So like we just replace it with a into b, and here I can write a into b into c. Okay, so if at all these methods exist, okay, with the same signature, that is same parameters and the same function name, from a base class to a derived class, then the derived class methods is said to have overridden the base class methods. Okay, so you understand override. So this function would not be executed, instead this function would be executed. Okay, so if we want to execute both of these solutions like in a sequential manner, there is a base class function should be called before executing this function. Okay, so in that case what we could do is we could use super over here. Okay, so we'll not be using super for now. We'll keep that reserved for some other video, but for now this was how method overloading and overriding works. Okay, what are the practical implications of overriding and overloading, that also we'll see. First, let's just create a function, or what do you call it, the main function, and then we'll just run this thing. Okay, so let's just create an instance of the objects. Okay, so base class B, and we'll see, call it BC equals to new base class, and then we'll name this thing test prog, TP is equals to new TP test prog. Okay, so what I will do here is we'll call this thing base class. Okay, called from base class. Okay, we'll call it called from base class, called from derived class, so as to know what exactly got executed. Okay, so here what we'll do is just add this thing, and here what we'll do is we'll simply change to call from derived class. Okay, so here this will change, and we'll be good to go. Okay, so when you see the programs executing, you would know the difference. Okay, so in overload, basically you use the same function name with different parameters to run a certain set of functions, so that is a overloading. So by overloading the process, what it means is you are using the same signature or a function to do multiple tasks. Okay, so that is overloading, so doing more tasks with the same function. And in case of overriding, what you are doing is you are superimposing the newer method. Okay, so basically the scenario where method overriding is used, okay, is to upgrade a certain functionality. For example, if you had written a program previously for connecting your database through a certain Java version, okay, so now the database version has got upgraded and it uses some kind of new signature, or you could say new set of parameters or any other sort of libraries or extensions it uses. So it has got upgraded, but the remaining functionality post the connection remains the same. So what you will do is you will basically override the previous method of establishing the connection. Okay, so what you will do is you will extend the driver manager, this thing, interface or class, whatever that is, and then you would implement your own method or use override to implement that method, in other words. Okay, so these are the two test cases, or you could say the use cases, not test cases, sorry, my bad. So these are the two use cases where overriding is used. Okay, and in terms of overloading, what you're doing is you are using the same function, okay, to do a same set of tasks but with multiple different parameters. So like even for you could say simple things, like you could say for initialization of strings or complex data structures, you would find there are like multiple overloads of methods. Okay, so like you could declare a string simply with just the string, that is the set of characters. Then in the custom implementation you could have something like a different type of null terminator for it, or any sort of variation. So like there are multiple ways of declaring a certain variable or sort of a thing. So it provides a robust way of accessing all these methods, or having options to create all these methods. So overloading is predominantly used for making your programs much more robust and in tune with the evolving client requirements. And this thing, the overriding is basically used for upgrade purposes. Okay, so like without breaking the existing part, you will just upgrade the whatever small part that you have created, override that method in a newer class. Okay, in a, you could say, the derived class from an older class, and you could mask those methods and implement your own methods in this one. So this could be the case. Okay, so let's just, now enough of the theory, and we'll just execute this thing. And what I'm going to do is I'll just put a test copy and 1 comma 2, and we'll just test this thing. Let's just save the program. Let me call it public, sorry, Java C test program Java. Let me see if I'm making any syntax errors. Oh good, we are not making any single error. Yeah, maybe in the runtime we will have different types of errors. Okay, so call from base class, and it says 3. So in the base class what we have written is a plus b. Okay, the same way if I write bc dot test 1 comma 2 comma 3 and semicolon, so 5 6 it should written ideally. Okay, so in the Java program, just remember to recompile this thing always and rerun it again. Okay, see 6. Okay, so now this was the overload part. Okay, so I'll call it the overload. Now this same overloaded methods will be overridden. Okay, the methods will be overridden from derived class. Okay, so knowing where to use overloading and overriding in itself is a skill. Okay, so overriding methods. Okay, so we'll be putting some \n over here, so sorry, to give it a bit more spacing. And what we'll do is just simply I'm going to write tp dot test with the same input. Okay, I'll just copy this thing and paste it over here, and what we are going to do is just replace this bc with a tp. Okay, that is the derived class object that we have created, instance that we have created basically. Okay, so I'll just save the program now, so I'll just run it. Okay, and we are good to go. Yeah, so multiplication for this thing, it returned as 2. Okay, and for this thing, what do you call it, the second input, it returned the multiplication. 1 into 2 is 2, 2 plus 3 is 6. Okay, so for this operation things were pretty much similar, but if I take say 1 2 5, okay, so this might not return the same set of results for both the cases. Okay, so see, 1 plus 2 plus 5 is 8, and 1 plus 2 plus 5 is 1 into 2 into 5 is 10. Okay, so this is pretty much the difference. And if we had to execute the previous function, so we could use super. Okay, so I'll just see if we can do it by super, and we'll just say a comma b. Let's just check if we can call it by super. Okay, sorry, super dot test, not that. Okay, see here in the overridden methods, when I called with super, see here, this was without super, it didn't call the base class. Okay, and here it called the base class method test. Okay, so this is also one sort of a implementation where you want to add something to an existing this thing. So like you take an existing pattern of things. Okay, so like as I said in the previous database connection, so like if you are going back into that same scenario, you had to perform like X number of steps. Okay, so now you need, for the newer upgrade, you need to perform those same X number of steps along with X plus 10 number of steps. Okay, so like 10 new steps have been added to establish a connection. So what you will do is you will keep the existing code intact and you would use a new class and extend that older class, okay, here, and then override that old method, use a super to call the specific function which is overridden at this point of time, but we unmask it, we execute it, and then post that we add the remaining 10 steps. So this will improve your code reusability. So this is the kind of point of having all these polymorphic structures in OOP. Okay, so that is how OOP works. Okay, so hopefully this would be helpful to every one of you. Okay, thank you.